What's up? What's happening? Welcome here to a special Turkey Day version of Lacrosse Now. He's Tom Eschen. I'm Travis Eldridge.
Thanks for making us a part of your Thanksgiving weekend. And now over the next half hour, we'll be sharing some of the things that we're thankful for in the sport of lacrosse from this past year. Very heartwarming, if you will.
Yeah, and let's start with the return of lacrosse. 2020, a difficult year for so many reasons, but the 2020 spring season brought us a return to normalcy when it comes to the college game.
At times, the season felt anything but normal in 2021. Strict COVID testing rules, fewer non-conference games, the Big Ten only playing other Big Ten schools. But despite all of that, we made it to the championship weekend, and we crowned champions for the first time in 2 seasons.
But on the men's side, we kind of picked up where we left off. Virginia won its second straight title with that missing 2020 season in between. Cavs did it in a very familiar fashion, a season where they were overshadowed by teams like Duke and Maryland. But it was UVA peaking at the right time. They beat North Carolina and then the Terps in championship weekend as they hoist the trophy.
In the women's game, the super team UNC stole the headlines all year, but it was Boston College hoisting their trophy at the end. The Eagles were led by Tewaaraton winner Charlotte North, going on to win their first ever national championship. BC's biggest win came, though, in the semifinals, knocked off the previously unbeaten Tar Heels. They then beat Syracuse to finally break through and win the title. So, yeah, we had a championship weekend, which, of course, we did not have just a year ago in 2020. And I think we're all thankful for that for sure. But just to be able to see and go through a lacrosse season once again after it was sort of ripped away in 2020, really just appreciating it more than ever. We heard that from the teams and players and coaches all season long, too.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of perspective this year when it came to college lacrosse. Every coach you spoke to, every player, like the things that you kind of dreaded about practice or playing and about the process, I think the perspective of, hey, we get a chance to practice today. We get a chance to go get better and run sprints and do run tests and all that, because there were things that even last year when it came to the fall for a lot of these teams, they couldn't do.
Yeah.
So it kind of carries over here into the fall season that we've seen here in 2021 as we get ready for 2022. There's been a lot of perspective, and I think that was probably one of the big themes throughout the year when it came to college lacrosse, about feeling thankful for just the opportunity to be together with teammates and have a chance to play the sport they love.
Yeah, I think, like you said, that was echoed all season long, and you sort of felt that, you know, on a weekly basis. And I think that for some teams, maybe they felt it more than others, and that's what guided them on some of their runs and the bond that a lot of these teams created. It's going to be heard over the course of the season. Some teams had COVID outbreaks, and all of a sudden a couple people weren't available, and they had to figure it out, and then had to bounce back after that. And I think the teams you saw at the end, you really found out a lot about them as the season went on, too.
Yeah, it was such a unique year, and we mentioned it before. I mean, you have the Big Ten that only played themselves, and so that was a whole storyline. There were fewer non-conference games, so there was this intrigue when it came to the NCAA tournament around a team like Maryland, who everyone thought was good, but we didn't know just how good. Turned out they were pretty darn good. Got all the way to the championship game. You had Duke as the super team, and this was on the men's side. On the women's side, its own great storyline. Same thing with the Big Ten. You didn't know how good those teams were because they were all kind of beating each other up on the women's side. Northwestern obviously emerged, and they were good, but they ended up losing in the semifinals. And then, of course, the super team in North Carolina, just like on the men's side with Duke, both of them losing in the Final Four. And you emerge with, in so many ways, Boston College for the women and Virginia for the men were very similar in how they were just kind of hovering around in terms of the top handful of teams in the country throughout the year, and then they emerge and they play their best lacrosse at the end.
Yeah, I go over to the women's side because, like you said, in championship weekend, you have a team, you know, we talk about overcoming things, and Syracuse, who they lose Emily Harishuk early in the year. You lose Megan Carney as well.
They lost everybody.
To season-ending injuries, and yet they get all the way to the end. And I think that was sort of it really showed you what they were made of. And you see Gary Gate, of course, going over to the men's side, but he had that group playing well together. And I think seeing them click as a team more than anything else was really impressive. Then, you know, like you said, with Boston College and finally getting over the top there, really just a cool story because they had tried and never could. I think that was really neat. And of course, just thankful to have those stories, again, that we could talk about. You know what I mean? And these individual athletes, like you said, with Marilyn Bernhardt, finally sort of getting to the top of his game. He had always been sort of that top tier, and now showing us what kind of athlete he is over the course of that season. I think, we know, like the Michael Sowers of the world and everybody else like that. Like, I think that, sometimes Bernhardt was not the clear and clear on favorite, but he was and won the Tour time because of that.
And the biggest thing I'm thankful for from this past year was the fact that we saw an entire group of seniors, and there were guys and girls that didn't have that opportunity, that said 2020 is it. But for everybody who could come back, and they finished their careers for the most part on their own terms. It was, hey, it finished on the field, and it was win or lose. A lot of them, and you end up in a loss, because that's just how most seasons end when it comes to any type of sport. But if it ended on your terms, it ended on the field, and you had a chance to figure things out. And after what we saw in 2020 and how things were ripped away from these student athletes, it was good to see that.
Yeah, we'll get it again in 2022 when the Ivy League returns.
Yeah.
So they'll have a whole different chip on their shoulder because they watched it all unfold.
And I tell you what, there's a lot of talent in that league.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait. Both the men and the women should be fun in 2022, but a quick thankful for 2021 and the return of college lacrosse too.
Coming up here on Lacrosse Now, we're thankful for the prospect that lacrosse may make a push for inclusion in the Olympics sometime in the near future. We hear from the players on the newest version of lacrosse, sixes.
Plus, this year also brought us a new version of pro women's lacrosse. We'll hear from some of the Athletes Unlimited stars on the league's first year. Stay with us. Welcome back. One of the highlights of this past year was the return of professional women's lacrosse. This iteration, though, completely different from what we've seen in the past from the UWLX or the WPLL.
Yeah, the newest professional league, a part of Athletes Unlimited, a format focused on the individual player championship instead of that traditional team title.
That's correct. The players competing in 15 games over the course of 5 weekends, redrafting new teams each week. The individual players accruing points based on their stats, with team wins weighted strongly as well.
I think it's a really exciting opportunity for us to get to know new people. And like with this league, it's about finding that chemistry. And so I think as the weeks go on, we'll become more familiar with all the different types of players here and who works well together. So I think it's a really cool part about this league because it's so different and no one's seen it before in other sports.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't at all. Like, I didn't even look at my points after the game. And that's kind of always been the player that I am. Growing up, I played basketball. My dad would never let me look at the book. And I just have never, I think that if you try and focus on individual points, you kind of play a little bit scared just because you, as an attacker, we can lose points for missed shots or turnovers. And that's not really how I like to play the game of lacrosse. I've been playing it for a long time and I can't play fearful of making mistakes. So the only thing that I actually really do love is, winning the quarter. You get points for winning each quarter and you get points for winning the game. So if you always have that in mind and know that we have to win this game in order for my points to even matter, it kind of takes the pressure off of you and it's just playing lacrosse at that point.
The point system highlighted more than just the scores. North Carolina alum defender Kayla Wood spent the beginning of the season atop the standings, ended up finishing with the 6th most points in the league this year.
Goalies also highlighted in this format, 3 finishing in the top 10 of the standings at the end of the year. Former IWLCA National Goalie of the Year, Kaylee Waters, finishing in 2nd overall when it was all said and done. Finished the season 2 straight games of double-digit saves.
But at the end of the day, it was a familiar face finishing at the top. Taylor Cummings, the 3-time Tour-Ton winner and Team USA gold medalist, adding yet another trophy to her collection. She had 2 or more points in 9 games, double-digit draw controls in 3, won 10 of the 15 games she played. I mean, all this woman does is win, and she took home the individual title.
It's a huge honor and very much humbling. To be in a league with 58 other incredibly talented players who are on the U.S. team, who just graduated college and won national championships or competed for national championships, and everyone in between. Any one of them could have raised the trophy, raised the medal, I guess, at the end. So to win after a grueling 5 weeks and 15 games of play, I'm really excited, I'm proud, and incredibly humbled.
We were also thankful to have some familiarity unveiled in the Premier Lacrosse League after the PLL merged with the MLL in the offseason. The Cannons Lacrosse Club was formed, keeping the same name and look as its former MLL team. Cannons also saw Paul Rabel return to playing under the Cannons moniker, this time in the PLL.
The PLL returning to a full touring model in the 2021 season after spending 2020 in the bubble. The 2020 expansion club, Water Dogs, finishing the season as the top dogs in the standings alongside Atlas, who moved on from veterans like Paul Rabel, Kyle Hartzell, and Rob Pinnell. They were led instead by Rookie of the Year, Jeff Teat.
But wasn't a team at the top to win the cup. Instead, a team that went under 500 during the regular season, Chaos. Finished 4-5, 6th in the standings, went on to make an incredible playoff run. They beat the Archers by 3, Atlas by 6, and then the two-time defending champs Whipsnakes 14-9 in the championship game. Really, none of those were really all that close.
Nope.
Blaze Reardon named the championship and season MVP. He had a great year.
We also thanked a few legends throughout this year who are hanging it up after incredible careers. First, John Galloway and Joe White both deciding to hang up their cleats for the final time following this 2021 season. They played together from the beginning until the end. They won 2 national championships together at Syracuse, advanced to 2 MLL championships with the Rochester and Dallas Rattlers. They also helped Team USA win a gold medal at the World Championships in 2018. And as they came in to the league professionally together in Rochester, they leave together with the Chrome.
Yeah, I had it in the back of my mind going into the season that, if I could put my best foot forward, this would be an opportunity to step away from the game on my own terms, and really was, keeping it there and felt good throughout the season. And, my mindset has always been, I want to be able to contribute. I never want to hurt our team. And hopefully there's games where I can help us get a win. And ultimately, I think it was week 5 or 6, Joel approached me with the idea, and to be honest, it was a bit of a relief. I don't know if I could do this on my own. I don't know if I had the courage just to walk away from this core of guys. And when Joel decided that he was going to do it as well, it made me think, this is what a better opportunity to walk away from the game with the guy that I started it with at Syracuse as a freshman and as a roommate for the past 15 years. So, the stars kind of aligned at that point, and we made a really tough, but in a lot of ways, a really easy decision for us and our families to make this our last season and to really focus on the next few weeks as hopefully a culmination of a really amazing experience that we've had.
A trailblazer in the sport, Kyle Harrison, also deciding 2021 would be his last on the field. The Johns Hopkins National Champion, tour-time winner, would win a professional championship in 2017, becoming the leader of the Black lacrosse community, founding the Black Lacrosse Alliance in the process as well. A lot of big years at the top for Kyle Harrison and hanging up for one final time.
Speaking of big years at the top, Paul Rabel ending his on-field playing career at the age of 35 after 14 professional seasons. Everything starting at Johns Hopkins, where Rabel was a 3-time first-team All-American, won a couple of national titles in college, then 2 more professionally in Major League Lacrosse with the Cannons and Lizards. He finishes with the all-time points record in field lacrosse history, an impressive career that includes starting the PLL, and now he moves on to the executive role in the league he created. Still to come on this Lacrosse Now holiday special, Haley Warden showing us lacrosse isn't the only thing she's outstanding at.
And we've got a whole new version of lacrosse to be thankful for here in 2021. The Impact Sixes is making around the world as the Olympic movement continues. Stay with us as this Lacrosse Now holiday special continues on LSN. Welcome back. We're also thankful for getting our first looks at sixes in a competitive format. The rules formalized in May. Then after that, athletes and players around the world trying out the new discipline for the first time. And the first time, we got to hear the reactions from the players in competing in the format designed to try and get lacrosse into the Olympics.
It was definitely one of the cooler experiences I think I've had as a lacrosse player. I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to go and try out such a new and cool game style. And it was definitely very different than anything I've ever played before. It was so fast-paced, and I think we were all kind of learning together and figuring out the best sort of strategies for substitutions and things like that. But to get back to playing organized lacrosse, practicing, and especially wearing USA on my chest, and playing with such great players and coaches was a really cool and special environment.
Yeah, sixes is definitely an awesome way to grow the game. It's really fast paced, which kind of struck me at first because it's a lot of back and forth, but it's such a cool game to watch because it's in a smaller setting. So for people that don't know the game as well, they can really pick it up easily just by watching the smaller setting and the fast-paced scoring. And there's a lot of cool aspects to it that I really enjoyed playing. And I just got to build a lot of great friendships from doing the sixes and also this team, which I think will last forever.
Yeah, you know what? It's awesome. It's really quick. It happens so fast. You can't really celebrate after goals. That's for sure. It's pretty nice because it pretty much is box with bigger nets. So that's pretty cool. I'm not sure how much the goalies like it, but us offensive guys, we like it a lot. It's a really cool idea. It's really fast. There's a few rules that probably need to change between now and obviously the Olympics, but it was really fun in Baltimore playing that.
As always, the sport continues to give back. The players on the field doing what they can do for the community off of it as well.
Absolutely. Athletes Unlimited had their players play for a cause, and they were attached to that all season long. Of course, the PLL continuing their PLL Assist program, raising awareness for key issues facing our society as well. Both those leagues doing a lot outside of just the confines of the field, too. And once again, we saw the upper lip of the athletes adorned with whiskers for Lax Madness. The Headstrong Foundation fundraiser continuing to raise money in the memory of Nick Calalori. Players and teams from around the country rallying with their mustaches, but raising money in the process.
I just tell people that, that are participating in Lax Madness that the money is going to these families and it's helping people now, and it's making an impact and improving the quality of life for these families now, and it's meaningful. And so as fun as these mustaches are, they're making a difference. They're improving the lives of people that need it most, especially in a challenging time like our entire country and the world is dealing with right now.
Game Hair Havoc also accomplishing that goal over the course of the fall season, surpassing $100,000 for Headstrong. That money going towards providing 1,000 nights of lodging at Nick's house, a guest house for families who are pursuing cancer treatment for their loved ones.
Oh, it's been amazing being a part of Headstrong. I've played lacrosse my whole life, so it means a lot to me. And to see, I follow Game Hair Havoc and Headstrong on all social media, to see all these teams, like all these amazing teams from college to high school, styling their hair and posting about it and raising funds. It warms my heart so much. And I know for some of these people, it kind of feels like they don't have a face to a name. Like, oh, I'm raising this money for a great cause, but I don't know anyone personally affected. So I guess what I would say is to these people that are raising money is, number one, thank you so much. It means so much to all these families that are affected by cancer, because a lot of people can't afford their treatment or can't afford to stay near a hospital that can accommodate their treatment. And then number two is I was a regular girl lacrosse player in college, just like all of these girls, and you never really know when it could happen to you. So it really is a real problem that hopefully no one has to ever experience, but hopefully I can be a symbol of cancer is brutal and it can happen to anyone. And it really can happen so unexpectedly. So to raise these funds for Game Hair Havoc just means so much to the cancer community. And I just want these people to know that there is a higher cause and a group of people that are really benefiting from all of their fundraising.
Noelle Lambert, one of those who has given back throughout her career, her Born to Run Foundation, giving prosthetics to those in need. But she also is continuing her athletic career on the international stage, competing in this summer's Paralympics in Tokyo, finishing with the fastest time ever in the 100-meter dash for an American.
To be able to represent my country and to compete alongside the best in the world, that was always just a gold medal in itself. I knew that it was going to be very difficult for me to show up there and to medal because I'm running alongside these girls who've been competing for 5 to 10 years, and I've only been doing track, the sport itself, for 2 years. So I just knew that I wanted to get selected to the team, and I wanted to go out there and PR and hit a new American record. That's kind of the goals that I've set for myself, and luckily I was able to do that. But I mean, just the experience and getting to be known as one of the top athletes in the United States and in the world is definitely an accomplishment and something that I am proud of.
Tell you what, thankful for the inspiration Noelle continues to give the rest of us. Also thankful for this. Still to come, Towson coach Sean Nadelin getting into the spirit of the season. I'm not sure what season it is, but it's the spirit, all right. Out there for the Turkey Bowl for the Towson men's lacrosse team. You got to see more of the photos. When we continue here in this Lacrosse Now Turkey Day special. Finishing up here before diving into the turkey today, we're assuming that Virginia faceoff man Petey Lasala and Lehigh's Michael Sisselberger probably hit the gym. Hashtag built different. But seriously, squatting some serious weight. There was Lasala, and now you got Sisselberger, two of the top guys in the nation a year ago in faceoffs. Expect them to be even stronger this year. See what I did there?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they look strong. The
two teams did play in 2020. Sisselberger and Lasala each split time. Both teams about 50-50 at the X. Maybe we see Lehigh, Virginia again?
I mean, we could also just have them lift weights together. I think we could do that outside of the actual game.
Just a lift-off.
Right, yeah, a lift-off and see who can lift the most. Safety first.
All right.
I did some squats this morning, but not that much, man.
Yeah.
I'm sore just looking at that.
That's a lot of weight.
Awesome. Good job, guys.
Yeah, obviously Thanksgiving is about family, food, but also football, even for lacrosse players.
Lacrosse coaches and players taking to the gridiron prior to Turkey Day, and maybe nobody looked better doing it than Towson head coach Sean Nadelin. Just feast your eyes.
Just take a look at this outfit. Got the Walter Payton 34 jersey on, and then the hat with the ear flaps built in. I mean, incredible.
That's like a Walter Payton youth large that he's wearing. Really filling out that shirt, Coach Nadelin.
It came from years ago.
Looking good doing it. Former JMU midfielder Haley Warden, meanwhile, trying to kick for the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium last weekend. Cool, calm, and collected. She was, of course, there with the USA Women's National Team visiting during their trip to Dallas. Maybe some competition there for Greg the Leg in Dallas.
I mean, sign her up. There are some teams... It's a bunch of different levels that could use her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we saw Carly Lloyd try out for the Eagles.
That's right.
Kick some field goals during training camp.
It's a certain skill, and she is as good of an athlete as any, so more power to her.
Meanwhile, the High Point men's lacrosse team getting into the giving spirit this season. The Panthers, this is awesome. They helped deliver 100 turkeys to the Boys and Girls Club of High Point leading into this Thanksgiving week. So shout out to the boys down there at High Point doing some good and making sure people have a Thanksgiving turkey on their table here this year.
That's great stuff, and something you get excited for. That, as an athlete, you go out and use, sports to do that, which I think is really important.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. Well, we hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving. Make sure you tweet us or send us some Instagram photos if you play some lacrosse during the day here. And we'll see you here next week on Lacrosse Now.
Thank you for watching.